Hello and welcome to another episode of Authentically You. Before we get started, if you have been tuning in, welcome back. And if it's your first time joining me, welcome. We're glad that you're here. And if you can, please give this video a like and subscribe. It would help us continue to share stories of real people, real life, and real goodness. If you don't know, I am Anna, the Black Pants Girl, because legit, I own one pair of jeans and they're literally emergency jeans. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now. I need to put them behind glass. So I wear black pants all the time. But tonight, I'll actually be introducing you to another amazing person in my life. And we have been friends for a very long time. I'm not going to discuss how long that's been, but it's a long time. But she's out there living her own truth. And so tonight, let's connect as I introduce you to tonight's guest, Jennifer, aka Jen Long. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. So to give the audience a little bit of a backstory, we have been friends since I think middle school. That's when we
Middle
first met
school.
each other. Yeah.
Right.
So that is a long time. If you want to do the math and figure out how old we are, that's on you. We're not telling. We're proud of it.
Right.
Um, so I've known her for a very, very, very long period of time. And the funny part is one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is what she does with her day-to-day work life. And she's actually been doing this probably about as long as I've known her. In some capacity, not this actual job, because you'll be like, how could like a 13-year-old get that job? No. She started doing, well, we'll talk about that in a second. So Jen, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. This is really exciting. I'm so honored
Yeah, no,
to join
I
you.
I honestly I admire what you do, and I admire you going for what was a passion of yours even when you were younger. And actually now you get to see the other sides of it and all of that jazz. So let's start at the beginning. Where does the story of you begin, and where are you from originally?
Well, my story actually begins. I was born in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, which is right across the river from Easton.
So you're a Peaburg born
Now
person.
I know I
Oh,
do have some
girl.
Peaburg blood in me somewhere. It's been
That's
diluted
okay.
out.
That's okay. They're good people. My mom was a Peaburg girl, so I get it.
Oh,
I get
no.
it.
But I guess unfortunately at the time, but fortunately for years later, my parents divorced when I was 10, and
Hmm.
we actually lived with my father, which was very different back in the mid 80s, but
Hmm.
it was the situation at that time,
Right.
and there was nothing wrong with my mother. It was just my father had a more stable
Hmm.
environment, so
Sure.
we moved to Easton, and uh, went through Easton from fifth grade through senior year through the Easton
Gotcha.
School District. So I have
Okay.
more loyalty to Easton than I do to Phillipsburg,
I get that.
um, but that's um, where I'm from is good
Yeah.
old Easton. Very proud to be a Red Rover.
Yep. And for those of you who may not be aware, Easton, Pennsylvania is quite a town. It's a little, well, it's a little city, big town,
Yes.
which is a lot like what Knoxville is, believe it or not. So I've ended up being in a similar kind of place. Um, but Easton is also where Crayola crayons are made. So if people want to give us, a little props for that, that's awesome. Also, Easton is home to a public library that is a Carnegie library, which I always found truly fascinating because that's kind of a big deal. And why I bring this up is because um, I know about the chosen path that you're walking as a person and a professional, but they don't know what you do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do as a profession?
I am the public library director of the Easton Area Public Library, and I have been for 16 years.
Wow. Has it been that long already?
16 years as the library director
Where did that
here.
go?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
And As the library director, it is one of the most rewarding careers. It is one of the most exciting careers. I'm very proud to give back to our community. Although something that I've said a lot this year is I must have been absent the day in library school when they taught how to handle global pandemics, because the last 6 months have been very odd, very strange, very challenging. But I think it's also been just I get daily comments from patrons. We've missed you. We're so happy you're able to be open and provide limited services. So it does make me feel good that our community is supporting us and understanding the restrictions that we need to put in place to protect everybody in our community.
No, absolutely. And I don't know if you missed that day in class. I don't think we were taught how to deal with global pandemics in any education setting. So we're all kind of learning as we go at this point. So you have been doing this for 16 years. And I know about your education background, but how do you get where you are? Like, did you get a library science degree? What does that all entail?
Well, if we rewind time, when I was in intermediate school, the school between middle school and high school, I got a part-time job here, working here at the public library, because my grandmother worked here.
Oh, wow.
And they needed. They hired high school kids to put books away during the nighttime hours. And I was very close to my grandmother, and I loved to read. I was actually my dad never grounded me from reading, but he would become very close because I would have the flashlight under the blanket at night and sharing a bedroom with my sister.
Right.
My sister would squeal because I would want to be reading when it was bedtime.
Wow.
But I digress. So I started working here when I was 14, but I just enjoyed working at the public library. And when we graduated high school, my ideas to go to college were to major in law, because I thought law was like we saw on television, and I wanted to be that in the courtroom drama.
Right.
But when I went to college, my advisor, my freshman year, bluntly told me I didn't have the grades to be a lawyer, and it crushed me. It was very hard to hear.
Yeah.
But one thing about her, and I will give her credit, she leaned me towards public administration, working with the public in government settings, because that's what I enjoyed. The circus that is the courtroom is entertainment.
Right.
In my eyes, I know how important the court is, of course.
Oh yeah, no, sure.
But so I changed my major to public administration, but I decided, because I was still working at Easton Library over holiday breaks and summer breaks, I decided to pick up a minor in library science for my undergraduate, because it was, why take classes that weren't going to help me? But if I took library science, it was something I knew it was an easy grade.
Yeah, no, sure.
So when I graduated with my bachelor's in public administration and a minor in library science, it was then I got a full-time job here at the library in the circulation department, and I decided I wanted to go for the master's degree. So I do have a master's in library science, and I've been able to work in every single position here at the library. That's growing to the director position 16 years ago. And so I'm more than half my life I've worked at one place. That's wonderful, excellent, but sometimes it is a little scary that I don't have other places on my resume, and but my intent is longevity. Oh yeah, my intent is to retire from here, and then maybe do something else one day. But I do love what I do.
you do have a passion for it, and I will always remember you were one of the people that I always trusted. If I was in between different books that I wanted to check out, you always had a suggestion or an idea or a thought. So
Mhm.
I also like the fact that you said you've pretty much worked every position in the library, so you actually have a an understanding of all of the jobs, so
Right.
that if you do have any kind of people who are struggling with their position or something like that, you have a frame of reference to be a real person with them and
Mhm.
talk them through any kind of difficulties they might be having,
Right.
which is super awesome.
Right.
Now, I know that I'm assuming that the library system is different in all parts of the country, is basically based on how it's funded or things along those lines. But I'm sure in general, there's a general overarching kind of idea of how they are run. So I know for a fact that, are you over all of the satellite as well for the Easton Public So explain how a library system in a community works. Like, is it a county-based system or?
Well, part of Pennsylvania is library service is not mandated in Pennsylvania,
Okay.
which is unfortunate. But maybe one day I'll try to change the state legislature, but it's not going to be today.
Yeah, no.
Um,
That sounds like a lot
because
of work.
right, because we're not state mandated, you will find in Pennsylvania library service is designed many different ways. There are some county based, there are some municipal based. We
Okay.
are school district based.
Okay.
The school district actually collects our taxes for us.
Oh,
Public libraries cannot collect taxes on their own in the
sure.
state. So all we have, we serve a community of 60,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the main library, which is where I am, and we have
Mm-hmm.
one branch out in Palmer Township,
Oh, okay.
which is a suburban area within our community.
I
So
got you.
that's the only two libraries that I'm directly in charge of.
Okay.
However, because of our status in the state being in a county seat,
Mm-hmm.
we are a headquarters for 8 other libraries,
Oh, wow.
smaller libraries, that they look to us for support or assistance. I'm not in charge of them, but I help
Right.
direct them when needed. So,
Okay. Well, all right. So basically, it's a network in a
yeah,
way, like a
yeah,
local community-based network. Because I know that even back when we were in high school, we had the opportunity, I think at that time, to if the main library didn't have a book, but one of the satellite libraries did, you could potentially borrow from that, or there was a system
absolutely.
in place where you could. Um, and I have to give mad credit and props to the fact that the library system has far outlived Blockbuster
Yes,
Entertainment. Just gonna say.
yes.
um and one of the other things that I find fascinating about the Easton Public Library, um and I was actually sharing this with my fiance the other day, I said, it has one of the largest historical
Mhm.
sections where you can actually research the history of the area and things like that. Because actually, Easton has a pretty fabulous, like, as revolutionary history. I mean, we weren't involved that much in the Civil War in
Right,
any
right,
capacity, but uh big heavy hitters in the Revolutionary War, which is
right.
surprising.
Right. Well, and Easton was one of the 3 places the Declaration of Independence was read.
Yeah,
Only third to Philadelphia and Trenton.
I know, which is
So
incredible.
when you think of that document and
Yeah.
the importance and the significance of the Declaration of Independence,
Hmm.
um, there was only 3 places it was read, and we're
Yeah,
one of them.
I
So,
know, which is so cool when you think about it. And I am going to do an aside here, but my friend and I had an agreement. I think it started in college, where between our birthdays we would try to go see a musical. Have you
right?
seen Hamilton live?
No, no,
Oh, okay.
no.
It's
I
hard to get
tried.
tickets.
What's that?
It's still hard to get
Oh
tickets.
no, it is. Yeah,
Well, I
and with
mean,
Broadway Dark right now,
it's crazy.
it's crazy. But I will say it was awesome to see it through Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Um,
I
through
know.
and it is there's so much history there, and that's what is fun about our town is
Hmm.
there is so much history. We have the local history room that you just talked about.
Mhm.
It is one of the largest collections of local history in the area. We have
Oh,
people from
wow.
all over the world who come visit us to trace their family genealogy and
Wow.
research.
That's so cool.
And besides that, we do have the Easton flag,
Yep.
which is the flag that was unfurled the day that the Declaration was read in Easton on July 8th, 1776.
Wow.
And if you get a chance to look it up, the Easton flag, you'll notice the difference. The stars and stripes are reversed
Mhm.
on the flag. And yes, there's been a lot of controversy and questions if it's predates Betsy Ross's, is this, there's so much information there, but we do have the original flag. It's here at the library. We
That's
have
so
had
cool.
offers to send it to the Smithsonian, to send it to,
Wow.
but it belongs to the Easton community.
Right.
It was made by our ancestors here in
Yeah,
Easton. And
absolutely. Well,
so
that's really cool when you think about it, that
it
there's
is,
something that has lived lives and seen the changes. I know it's not a real thing. I mean, it's not it doesn't I'm not giving it personal qualities where the flag is going, "Oh, look at how things have changed." But I
right,
mean, it's been here and it stood the test of time. Um,
right.
would you say that while you were in school, other than the fact that you basically talked about your your guidance or your guidance counselor, but not wasn't a guidance counselor, it was your
Advisor, yeah.
advisor, kind of being, well, here's where we're at. Was there an aha moment that really cemented everything for you, or has it been just a journey to get where you are?
That's the one question that I've been thinking about. And
Right.
I don't know that there's been an aha moment.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's been a journey, but I do recognize that maybe there's been either a guiding hand
Mhm.
or I've been in the right place at the right time. And
Yeah.
because I've worked in so many different positions here in the library, because I've always been, when I graduated, there just happened to be a full-time position and I
Right.
was hired.
Yeah.
There were positions, even to become the director.
Yeah.
The previous director who was retiring, she said, "Have you ever thought about being the director?" And no, I hadn't. So,
Right.
but I think maybe the aha moment was when in college, picking up the library science as a minor,
Mhm.
not ever thinking I was going to use it, but thinking, this wouldn't be bad to have underneath my belt. And
Yeah.
um,
But I think, like you said, it is beautiful how kind of life has sort of given you these little like moments of, well, maybe this is where I'm supposed to be right now, because it's opened
right,
up and said, hey, this is available. Have you thought about this? And, I think sometimes we don't tune into those moments and we don't realize it's basically life saying, yo, let's do
right.
this. And when we do tune into those moments, it takes us on a journey that we really never anticipated. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit of both in life. There's a couple of aha moments, and then there's a couple of times where the journey just goes, this is the path you're supposed to be on, but you keep diverting, but we're going to get you there anyway.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so I think that's a reality. Um, I will say, what for you have you achieved personally or professionally that when you sit back at the end of a day or a stressful day that you feel has given you a sense of accomplishment, and it could be something that's a work in progress, but just something that keeps you going every day.
Um, it's just in my, I think being open-minded
Mm,
to all the technologies, being open-minded to everything that's going on, and just trying to go with it. I
right.
mean, I can remember, I mean, yeah, it was about 20 years ago when we first started having DVDs in the library.
Right.
There was so much controversy about DVDs.
Really.
Do we really want them? Well, because they were expensive.
Right.
Do people have DVD players? I mean, everything now, now we have so many like DVDs aren't even a thing. Like, are they even still
Right.
being used with all the streaming services?
Right.
Like just being able to adapt and say, let's try this.
Yeah.
Let's go forward. So I think that's, I do have an appreciation of this is the way we've always done it, but
Hmm.
I'm, I think my team would say, I'm also one that, hey, that's a great idea. Let's try this. I mean, before the COVID shutdown, we had record numbers in our programming.
Wow.
We've had so much activity. Everything came to a screech.
Yeah.
But now we're investing in doing things online and programming, and it's not quite the same, but it is the same.
Right.
So I guess being adaptable is something I'm very proud of.
And you should be, because I'm sure that there's been a lot of times where you have felt concern about, like when Kindles came out or when other things came out. Like, I think in the reality of it is everyone fears a little bit of extra technology as it's going to make something else obsolete. But
Right.
I will tell you, Jen, with all my heart and soul, I may have a Kindle, but I prefer a book. If I'm
Yep.
going to read, I want the pages, I want the smell, I want everything about it. So I definitely agree with you. Being adaptable and being open to that, and maybe not fearing it so much and saying, how do we use this with the current system? And as a library, you actually provide a lot of community activities, wouldn't you say?
Yes, we
Yeah.
are a place. We
Yeah.
are a place, and we don't. We welcome everyone,
Hmm.
whether you're the richest of the rich or the
Hmm.
poorest of the poor. You come in here. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're what your sexual orientation is, what you look like on the outside, what you look like in the inside.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Everyone is welcome here, and
Yeah.
I think that's what, when I walk through the library and I see a former mayor sitting next to a patron who I know is maybe down on their luck, and
Right.
even the information to access is available to everyone, and
Yeah.
we don't, here at the library, we have, our collection is very diverse. Our collection is very balanced. There's a saying that one of my colleagues and I say a lot is, if there's nothing in here that offends you, then we didn't do our job. I mean,
Amen. I
and
agree.
there's books in here that I don't agree with
Right.
politically,
Right.
but we we have them in here because there are others who are entitled to their opinion. But
Yeah.
our idea is to provide access to information,
Hmm.
reliable information, authoritative information.
Yeah.
I think that's something um, that we do well.
No, and absolutely. And not have, and knowing that there is a place that you can go and read all of these different opinions and know that they are quality materials and things like that allows someone to create their own belief system. Because if
Right,
you don't sit there and think to yourself, well, okay, I don't agree with this, but I do agree with this, and I have some sources that, help you shape your journey, that's where it's all about. Because you have to know both sides of the coin for you to actually know which you believe,
right,
and usually it's somewhere in the middle. We all know that it's never
exactly,
it's never one extreme or the other.
exactly.
But no, I think that those are great. Absolutely, I think that's a great accomplishment also, to which fits in line with you as the woman I've known my whole life, the valuing diversity, valuing all points of view, really. I mean, even though some of them you might disagree with, you've always been one of the most open-minded friends, um, which is why you were my friend in the first place. Um, but I've always valued that about you for sure. But the question comes up, if you were to go back in time and give yourself some advice as the younger you, if you had the chance, would you do it? And what advice would you give yourself? And the only reason I ask this is because a lot of times this is something that someone who may be watching this actually needs to hear themselves. So, is there anything you would tell yourself?
I think the only thing I would tell myself is life is hard. Um, Life is not easy.
Right.
People might look and say, well, you had a lot of opportunities, you were fortunate. fortunate is not lucky. Fortunate is not easy.
Right.
I mean, there's college. College was tough for me. It was academically a struggle, and that going back to that advisor, yeah, she maybe was not the sweet, nice person that I wanted her to be, but she was blunt, and sometimes you need to hear those things.
Right.
And I reflect on that a lot, and sometimes I love to call her up and say, "Well, look where I am now." But I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not what I had. What I thought I wanted to be. It's okay to stop and reflect, to think about things, to in your heart what's good. Listen to your heart and listen to your gut, and really make your expectations for yourself. That's what I think is important, and what I've learned in my time. And even this, I certainly don't proclaim to be the world's best library director. In fact, I know I make mistakes every day. I know there's decisions I've made that maybe weren't the best, or maybe impulsive, but I also know too, I've stood up and I've argued for more funding and spoken, and I was the president of the Pennsylvania Library Association 4 years ago, and I spoke to thousands of people about the importance of libraries. Those are, when you believe in something, and you know it's right, follow through.
Absolutely. I agree. I think that's wise words, my dear. And now we are going to go to our quick fire closer.
Oh, hold on one second.
Hold on, no, we didn't have to do it all.
Okay.
And
All
we're
right.
gonna let it serve now.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
This is the life of a library director, y'all.
Sorry.
She's got her staff.
They knew I was in a meeting, but there was something I needed to see. So.
Oh, it's all good, my dear. Well, we're going to end today with our quick fire closer questions.
Okay.
And they came originally from Bernard Pivot in his French series Bouillon de Culture. Woo, a prince. But people mostly know them from James Lipton's Inside the Actors Studio. And I love them because they tell so much and they're fun. But what I want you to do is just free associate with this. Don't think about it too much. Free yourself up. Yeah, absolutely. And let's just jump right in if you're cool with that.
Sure.
All right. What is your favorite word?
Love.
What's your least favorite word?
Must.
Must?
Must. Like you must do this.
Oh,
sorry.
No, I was thinking of must as in like someone smells a little musty today.
No, like when somebody tells you must do this. No, I don't need, you don't must me. Don't must me.
Don't you must me.
Oh, you must me. No,
I'm going to use that. I'm going to make a t-shirt or something.
Yes.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Making people happy. Happiness.
What turns you off?
Close-minded people.
Amen. All right. One of my favorites. What's your favorite curse word?
I don't like to curse.
You don't like to curse?
I hate curse words.
This.
When I hear them, I cringe. I don't curse.
I have known you forever and didn't know that.
Yep.
Well,
and
I'm cool with that.
When my husband says one, I will immediately say language, because
it's just not your thing.
I think we're better than that. So, I appreciate there is a time and place. And I mean, I know in music, sometimes I like some of the songs that have words like that too, but I don't like curse words.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah. What sound or noise do you love?
Children laughing.
Oh yeah, it's a good sound. What
Especially at story time.
Oh, that's got to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Tons of feedback there. Oh, what sound or noise do you hate?
Brake screeching, because it's usually an accident and somebody's life is going to change.
Yeah, it's true. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Either a travel agent or a pilot.
Well, that is very interesting. Okay.
But the pilot thing, I'm not good with math. So that probably won't happen. But travel agent, yeah.
Travel agent's good, especially if you can get yourself deals. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
What profession would you never want to attempt?
Judge.
That is a big, yeah.
Judge.
That's a lot
Having
of,
to put somebody in jail, having even a misdemeanor,
right.
dealing with the divorce court,
Yeah.
like custody. No.
No, I can understand that. And lastly, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Bingo begins at 4.
I love it. That's so great. What a great answer.
But
Oh,
seriously,
yeah.
I mean, that's what I love bingo. That's
Bingo's
what
fun.
I know. I want to know what time bingo is.
Yes, I get it. And you know what? You and I were raised in an area where bingo is a thing. Like it's a passion.
Oh,
And
it
my
still is.
grandmother was a passionate bingo player, and those little dabber things. Oh my
It
gosh.
still is. Even in the midst of a global pandemic, bingo is still going on.
Wow. Are they
Yeah.
masked bingo
Oh yeah,
players?
masked
Okay.
bingo and you know,
Socially distanced bingo.
socially distanced, all different for money, for sex toys, for food, for meat bingo.
Wow. For meat bingo, you
Meat,
can
like,
win meat.
yeah, you can win like a roast or
I'm
turkey
all
or,
about that.
yeah,
I
gun
want to play
bingo.
meat bingo.
Yeah,
Who doesn't?
guns, ammunition. There was all kinds. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
bingo begins at 4, my dear. And I just want to say I have truly enjoyed getting a chance to see you, even via Zoom. I miss you greatly. And I want you to know that you have your perseverance, your dedication to who you are and what you do while still making time for things that excite you and are passionate parts of who you are outside of your job has always been super inspirational to me. I enjoy watching your journeys to the gazillion different sports places that you've
Yeah.
been to knowing that you still, are a patron of the arts. You will always be one of my forever friends that I can pick up a phone and probably just pick up where we left off.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel the same about you. So,
Well,
this was really I loved this. This was perfect for today.
it was. Well, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and thank you so much for joining me. And this has been Authentically You. That was awesome.
Oh, that